In an attempt to play with the Ouija board, Anna and her friends may have gotten the encounter they were looking for, even without playing. My name is Edwin, and here is a true, scary story. This story happened when I was a teenager, back in Puebla, Mexico. I used to hang out with my friends. We were in secondary school back then, and we used to hang out in this old house when apparently there was some crime that happened over there. We used to be into all these creepy things. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful home. The home, I can't remember, but I think we had like about 2 floors, but like very high ceilings. And they had pieces like the whole side of the house was gone by the fire. And the stairs, they were partially gone as well. So there were black clothes everywhere. There were black candles everywhere. And there were beams, like really big pieces of wood that were like the major structure of the house in certain places. But they were like partially burned. So it wasn't necessarily fully standing at a house. It was like half of it was standing, half of it was gone. I don't remember the spiral stairs, but we didn't. Obviously you couldn't actually the second floor. The second floor was like the stairs were gone and everything. Another very creepy thing about this house is that the backyard was huge. You were going to this huge backyard. It was almost like the woods, but it had a circle of trees. So it was like a big area, like a circular area. It was so dirty, like a little. It didn't have any grass or anything. It was just dirt. And then it was surrounded by trees. Like a lot of really tall trees. But it had an anter. At the back, it had an anter. And then you find and they got to like a church made out of marble as well. But it was broken pieces and it was there. And so we at some point, one of our friends ended up getting involved with some satanic sect. And we thought he was joking with us. And we just kept thinking this guy is just bluffing. But we kept asking him questions, but he wouldn't reveal too much. He used to say, "No, I can't say anything because I don't want to get in trouble." So we just thought, yeah, whatever. He's probably just bluffing. So anyways, we kept going because he's the one who brought us to that place. And this place is where they used to have meetings. So one day we skipped school and we went to this abandoned house. The story of the house was that there were men who had, I don't know how many kids, maybe 2 kids or whatever. And he murdered his 2 kids and his wife and then let them die in the bathtub. And then he burned the house. He killed himself and burned the house. So when we went back, the house still had a bathtub in there. And the bathtub was still stained with blood. Like the blood was 3/4 up on the bathtub and the house was burned. Only the second floor was burned. They were like old beams and I don't know if they could go into pictures. We spent the day there. At some point, my friend who used to go to the sect came in with this boogie board. But he came with this big, like a big board, very heavy. Everything is carved in. So it was beautiful and we were all super excited. Oh my god. And he used to be like, this is the real thing. So we wanted to play it. And then he's like, no, we can't play it here because we need to take a couple of steps as a precaution because it's very dangerous. It's not a toy. Like the person you guys have been playing, and we're like, okay, so then what do we do? And I remember him. I think he said you had to put salt somewhere and you had to put it like a glass of water somewhere else. I can't remember because I'm not into that. I wasn't serious about all the creepy stuff. I know that I always have fun with the occult or like scary movies and scary stories. But I think we're following that diligently, not really. So he said, okay, so we didn't play it. We spent the whole day in that house, taking pictures. So we came back home, like obviously nothing weird happened over there, but we used to find it like a really creepy place. And you did have that sense of there was something around the house. So there was like this energy and you knew that there was something that actually happened. But anyway, when we went back home, another friend of mine kept the Ouija boys. So my friend who wasn't the second one was in there anymore. But there was this other friend. So this friend, he came to my house one day. I remember it was a weekend and he knocked on my door and he said, "Do you want to play the Ouija board?" And I said, "Okay, sure." And he said, "Let's go over to my other friend." So another girl, maybe one of my best girlfriends. And then we said, "Let's go and play together." So I said, "Okay." So we're going to go to her house and play the Ouija board. And it was raining. I remember it was raining, pouring, and it was lightning. So we just get it running around, wrapping the Ouija board so I wouldn't get wet. We're going to get in trouble with our friend. So we went up to the house and her sisters and her mother were leaving the house as they opened the door. So we're like, "Hey, how's it going?" We're like, "Hey, where's Al? She's upstairs. She's just taking a shower. We're like, okay. The dog's name was Lobo. Whoa. In Spanish. So anyway, we came in and I was looking for Lobo because I just love that dog. He was a husky. So anyways, we came in, we're looking through the stuff, looking at pictures. You normally do sometimes when you're not in somebody's home. And we just stuck into each other, and then all of a sudden we realized that the water, because it was raining so hard, that the water started leaking into the house. Because it was raining super hard, the water started going through the door, like underneath the door, and then it formed a puddle right inside by the entrance. So then we thought, oh my god, it was a big puddle. And that noise that you make when you step on the water, how it sounds like it, the little splashy sound, we heard that, right? And I looked, I didn't see anything, but what I saw were the paw prints of who I thought was Lobo, like the wet prints leaving the puddle. And then I thought, oh, he's here. So then I started chasing after, because the paw prints would lead over to the dining room area. And there was a big table, and that table had a big, one of those, what is it, like the tablecloths, one of those long ones that you can't see underneath. So anyway, I headed over to the dining room area to look for Lobo because in my head he's there, like I just saw the paw prints, I didn't see him. So then I look underneath, like he's not there. So then I just, like, oh my friend, I said, hey, I said, like, did you see Lobo? I said, he was just here. And then he was just like, no. And then he decided to help me find him. I said, look, and he saw the paw prints too. He was like, oh yeah. He must be around here from the living room that was about to the kitchen. So when I started looking for Lobo, I thought, okay, well, he's not here. He must be in the kitchen. So then I continued to walk in the kitchen. He was in there and my friend came and he also started looking, well, maybe the other side, maybe here, maybe there. And then he asked me, did you find it? Did you try to look under the table? And I said, yes, he was in there and he wouldn't believe me. So then he goes and lifts the tablecloth and puts his hand on the floor, the one hand, on the floor to try to see if Lobo is there. So as he's looking, my friend is coming out of the shop. He's just coming downstairs. And then she asked, what are you guys doing? And I said, well, I just heard, Lobo stepped on the water and then we saw his paw prints. But I can't find him. Where is he? And then he just looked at me and she opened her eyes wide and she said, Lobo is not home. She's in my other home because she still has no house. And we're like, what? And then in that moment, my other friend goes, oh. And he said, what happened? So he gets up from being under the table and he had punctures kind of like with a needle in every single one of his 5 fingers. And we were like, oh. And then she said, what are you guys doing? What do you want to do? And then we said nothing. We were thinking, we wanted to play the Ouija board when we got so picked out. And we're like, no, let's just grab it. Let's just give it away. So we went out in the middle of the storm with lightning running around to see if we could actually be in somebody's home, with a responsible adult who is still safe. But I remember we were just so freaked out.